Hi ho ho, it's me, Jessie Eisenberg, back at it again with a new episode of the Boy Time Podcast, and as always, I'm joined by Babby and Paul.
Hello.
We
Somehow
found
I heard
them.
my cat, even though I have a headset on when you said that.
Oh, well, I mean, I put out the bounty last week, so that someone could find Paul, and someone did. So I'm very
Got him.
happy because now Paul's back. It's great. Last week was a very short episode. I suspect that this week is also going to be one. Just because I did not watch very many. Not very many. I watched one movie, and then I watched season 2 of the hit television program The Bear.
Which you will not talk about.
I will not talk about. I will say it's very, very good. Probably just as good, if not better, than the first season. And it was great. I mean, it was announced that like Bob Odenkirk is in it. Like a bunch of actors from Chicago are in it, which I thought was great. It's cool to see like that kind of representation. Where it's just like a bunch of people from Chicago saw the show and was like, I want to be in this, and so they are. And the thing is that every single person that like comes in to do like a role like that, they fit completely perfectly. It's like it's crazy. So we won't talk too much about it because I know that you just started it. So we will not do an in-depth discussion on The Bear yet. But yeah, just finished it today. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's going to get picked up for a third season. I know that it is somewhat popular, but I mean, I guess it's pretty popular for an FX show, so maybe. But yeah, so won't talk about The Bear, but it is very good. And then I also watched the first 2 episodes of Fiona and Cake because those are out. Have you seen them?
Not yet. I'm trying to like speed run the end of Adventure Time and Distant Lands, so she's caught up before we do it.
Yeah, that is important. I had it on. My girlfriend was making dinner because that's where women belong, and I was watching the show, and she came over and she was like, "Wait, why is that guy the Ice King? Because we know that Simon's in it from the poster."
Yep.
She's like, "Wait, why is that guy? Wait, fill me in. Tell me what happened."
That's why I'm like, okay, we're gonna watch like the 10th season and then do Distant Lands and then we'll do it.
Yeah, I think you'll need to do that, and you'll need Distant Lands too because there's stuff from Distant Lands that ties in to this show. And the fun thing about this show is that it's one of those that is like aged with its audience because it's officially TV-14. They swear, and there's like blood, like a lot of blood. I was like, whoa. That was not I was just watching the first episode and then like Fiona's like, damn it. And I'm like, whoa, is this a regular show? What is happening? But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, there's only 2 episodes out right now.
Are they like weekly releasing it?
Yes. Like, this is a funny thing. So they're coming out every Thursday, but they misspelled it.
Oh, cool.
On the thing, because it flashes up and it shows like a picture of the poster and it says like new episodes every Thursday, but it says new episode every third day.
Classic Max.
That's a classic Max move. That came on and I had to rewind it and be like, whoa, is that? But yeah, it's one of those where it's like I'm having a really hard time figuring out what is happening. Just because like we know that like Fiona and Cake is like fan fiction. I think it started off, and this is just theoretical. I don't know if this is true, but I would assume that it's like some of the Adventure Time creators saw like people online doing like fan art of like gender swapped characters, and they're like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we did that? And then
it was kind of a thing around then, so they're kind of like, let's just do it.
It was kind of like tongue in cheek because it was like the Ice King writing it the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny. But yeah, so like now it's like I don't want to say anything,
Like
but
multiverse stuff, isn't it?
it's kind of
So, like, in a
multiverse
weird-
stuff.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like Fiona and Cake, like at one point, I think in the theme song, or I guess the first theme song, like there's like a second of like Fiona watching Cheers. And then I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Can you see that?
roll back the audio. They have Cheers? Is this real life? So yeah, I was very confused, and I still don't think I have all the answers after the second episode, but I'll keep watching it. It's pretty good. I mean, it's Adventure Time, so
Exactly.
It's good.
We've just been like having it on. We're up to like season 7, and I forget like how much of like a insane streak that show has.
oh, it's so good. Yeah, it's one of those I don't think the quality ever dropped off.
No, it
Even-
like got kind of better as it went on.
Yeah. And like even as like they did spin-off shows, like sometimes those happen and it's like, oh, no, that one wasn't as good as the original. It's like, no, the spin-off shows are just as good, if not better. And this one is honestly kind of gearing up to be just as good, if not better. But hopefully they don't drop the bag.
I wouldn't think they
I
would.
wouldn't think so. But, you know, putting good vibes out, hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for TV shows. I watched one film we can talk about. It's kind of a weird one. So this movie came out in 2005. It was written and directed by Noah Baumbach, who I'm going to do like the reverse thing. You know how like sometimes like women in Hollywood, they're like, oh, you know, like Sofia Coppola, she's like Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. And it's like, that's like the first thing you use to describe women in Hollywood. Like not you, but like stereotypically, you know, instead of being like Sofia Coppola did Lost in Translation, you say she's Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. Noah Baumbach is Greta Gerwig's husband. And I think Greta Gerwig got her start because she was acting in his movies, and then she eventually went on to make her own movies, and now she has directed one of the highest-grossing Warner Brothers movies of all time. But you know, back I think this was before they got married. Noah Baumbach written and directed a movie called The Squid and the Whale. It has nothing to do with the
I love
whale.
the whale. Dang it.
I wish. I was originally going to do a thing this week. I had a great gimmick with all of the movies, but then I didn't have time. Well, I did have time, but I was watching The Bear. I got into The Bear, so I didn't watch any movies. So I still have that gimmick. It's saved. I will use it later because I still have enough movies that fit into the criteria. But so for today, we're just talking about The Squid and the Whale, the 2005 smash hit. I don't know if I would describe it as a smash hit, but it's a small little art house movie, co-written by Wes Anderson, produced by Wes Anderson. I think, well, actually, I'm not sure if it's co-written by Wes Anderson because if you look up the movie, it has him listed as a co-writer, but in the credits of the movie, he's not. So I don't know. I don't know what the story is there. But I guess Wes Anderson is involved. It's starring a lot of people, I guess, before they got big, except Jeff Daniels is in it. And at that point, he was already in Dumb and Dumber, basically making him the biggest movie star of all time. But you had like a baby Jessie Eisenberg and I don't want to say baby Laura Linney, but like Laura Linney before Ozark. She still plays the mom in this movie though, so I think that's just who she is. She's just typecast as mom, but she's not evil in this movie. She is in Ozark. But yeah, it's a very simple movie. It's an hour and 20 minutes long, so you know I like it. And it's the story of two writers that are Jeff Daniels and Laura Linney. They are I don't want to say happily married, but they are married and they have two sons. And Jesse Eisenberg is the older brother to Owen Klein, who's the younger brother, who I don't think has gone on to act a lot. I think he's more of like a behind the camera type fella. which is shocking because he's really good in this movie. But Jesse Eisenberg, the older brother, is closer to the dad, and Owen Klein, the younger brother, is closer to the mom, and the dad is just plain awful. Like he's a narcissist. Like he thinks that his writing is like pushing the boundaries, but like he hasn't been able to get picked up to get any of his new books published in like 10 years. And he like doesn't really respect women. He's like a professor and he's like hooking up with some of his students. But like Jesse Eisenberg thinks he's
just
like,
Bojack's dad.
yeah, pretty much.
Exact same character.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, he's not like, it's one of those things where it would be like I don't want to say like excusable, definitely not excusable, but like it would be a little bit easier to see if he was charming, but he's just like a dick throughout the entire movie. And like, why does any woman want to sleep with this guy? Because he's like the worst guy. He's like one of those people that like claims to be like self-proclaimed genius, and goes around saying, "Oh, have you read my book?" Which I guess nowadays it would be like, "Hey, have you listened to my podcast?"
My podcast.
Which I guess is ironic
Watched
considering
my video essay.
I made a video essay on I can't think of any popular literary person. Jane Eyre. I don't know.
17 hours long.
Yeah. There's a line in the movie where they're like reading, oh, what is Jesse Eisenberg reading? It's like a famous like high school book. It's by the guy who did Great Gatsby. There's like another one that he did. I can't think of it, but they're doing this other one, and he's like, "Hey, have you heard of this book, Dad?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's lesser this person, you know. Great Gatsby really is the masterpiece." And then Jesse Eisenberg's like, "I'm not going to waste my time. I'm just going to read the important things because my dad says it's important." So basically, it's just like that. So the older brother starts like developing the same kind of complex that the dad has. Meanwhile, the younger brother is, I think he's like 12 or 13, and he's like he's exhibiting a more like empathetic kind of thing that his mom has, while also having a sexual awakening, which is uncomfortable to say the least. There's like scenes, and I guess I haven't gotten to the crux of the movie yet, which is that they get divorced. So it's more like a thing detailing how these two kind of these two kind of children, one attached to the other parent more so than the other one, and how they kind of change, how that dynamic shift changes their personality, which is interesting because Jesse Eisenberg just gets worse. He basically becomes Mark Zuckerberg, which is awesome.
The worst thing you can do.
I know. It's like, I think he's like 16 or 17. He's like dating his first girlfriend and like they're making out. And then like when like they stop kissing and they like, you know, they're still close and he's looking into her eyes. He's like, your face has too many freckles. I wish your face wouldn't have freckles. I'm like, dude, why are you're trying to hook up with this chick? At least pretend, you know. I have to pretend all the time with my girlfriend. I hope she doesn't listen to this episode. Sometimes she listens to the episodes, but that's fine. I'll
It's a
explain.
very anti-girlfriend episode.
Yeah, I hate my girlfriend.
No girls allowed.
That's right. It's called boy time for a reason.
It's called
bitch.
boy time. Everybody can be a boy, but not this episode.
Not this episode. But yeah, that's kind of just like a running thing. Is that, you know, he's kind of he's a dork. He's a nerd. He's starting to become like this narcissist. Like he's learning to play guitar, and he learns. I don't remember what Pink Floyd song it is, but it's Off the Wall. Not a super popular one, Off the Wall. But he's just like learning this song, and he plays it for his parents. He's like, "Yeah, I wrote it. I'm super cool. I wrote this song." And then the dad's like, "Wow, there's a lot of emotional density to these lyrics." He's like, "Yeah, I did that." And in fact, he does it to a whole talent show of people at his school and says that he wrote it for everyone. And as you can guess, he gets found out like immediately because you play a Pink Floyd song to an auditorium of people and someone's gonna know it, which is pretty funny. But it's a pretty good movie, I would say. It's pretty short, which I think is good. I would say everybody's acting is phenomenal. I don't know if I've seen any other Noah Baumbach movies. I don't think so, but based on this, he's a pretty dang good director, getting good performances out of everyone. Jeff Daniels is one of those people that always kind of sneaks up on me because I always think of him as the Dumb and Dumber guy, but when he does serious roles, he's like really good.
He should have never taken Dumb and Dumber.
He never should have. I don't know. I
think
know
that
why.
was my first exposure to him, and it was not good.
I know. It's really a shame. I think the first time I saw him in something was in the Netflix limited series Godless, which is a Western show. Very, very good. Jeff Daniels plays the bad guy. One of the classic like lawful evil archetypes, which I love in villains. And he plays it great. So I've seen him in that, and I've seen him in Dumb and Dumber, and now I've seen him in this. So quite a range, I guess. But yeah, super good. I don't want to give away what the title means because it's very specific. It's not like a metaphor or anything lame like that, you know. Sometimes you get those and it's like, oh, what does the title mean? I don't care. That's not interesting. But the title's very fitting. It's the Squid and the Whale. So it's on Netflix, I think. That's how I watched it. One of the few movies still on Netflix. So I mean, I would recommend it. It's really short and it's very, very good. It gets a little uncomfortable just because it's very emotional, and the younger brother's sexual awakening is very it's uncomfy. He doesn't do anything like, you know, assaulty. I don't think like this is a movie that requires a trigger warning or anything, but like it's very much like stuff that's like cry for help, you know, like you hear of kids doing stuff like this, like when they're in emotional distress at home. And yeah, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to see this. But I did, and it's partly Wes Anderson's fault. So that's why I'm not going to see the new short film that he is releasing later this year, because I will never forgive him.
Lost a loyal customer.
The Budapest Hotel wasn't even that good.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. More like dumb Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. But yeah, that's all I have. That's it. I think
more.
I don't have more. Well, I could talk about the bear, but I don't want to spoil it. That's the only other thing I watched this week. You know, I didn't talk about this when I did watch it, but theoretically I could talk about the hit film Strays, because I did watch that in theaters.
Why did you watch that?
Well, if you can believe it, it wasn't my choice.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should have known the answer.
You know, well, okay, here's the thing. Because I go to a lot of like artsy movies in the theaters. I'm not going to especially I'm not going to comedies like that in theaters. But, you know, I go to these artsy movies and I bring up to my girlfriend that I'm going, and then she's like, okay, I'll come with you. And I'm like, don't do that. And then she goes, and then she doesn't like it. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to say I told you so, but I knew that you weren't going to like Beau is Afraid. But you went anyways, and that's fine. But she was like, hey, I want to see Strays. So I decided, I'm like, hey, you know what? She does this for me all the time. I'll go with her to one of the movies that she wants to see. And so I watched the hit film Strays. It is a talking dog movie. starring Will Ferrell
best
and
kind of
Jamie
movie.
Foxx. Yeah. But the thing is that it's a talking
Dogs
dog.
can swear.
They can swear. It's an R-rated film. It's a talking dog movie where they say naughty words and make dick jokes.
Perfect.
The dogs are always talking about humping things, and that's fun to me. As someone who is into animals and stuff like that.
Not like that.
I'd
Not like
watch your
that.
word.
I meant like as a zoologist. I study dogs very keenly.
Astutely.
Astutely, yeah. So yeah, I watched it. My girlfriend saw it. I don't know if she made a Letterboxd account after watching that movie. I don't know why, but she's
Imagine
like,
that being your first review.
I know. She was like, this is a perfect 3-star movie. I think I gave it 1.5 stars because it got a couple laughs out of me, but the rest of it was all bad. I think the saving grace is that I like Will Forte a lot. I've loved him ever since the I Am a Demon sketch and Tim and Eric.
I'm an idiot.
I like that style of humor he does. And in the movie, he's just bad. He's like the worst guy. He's just like abusing this dog. And I think that's kind of funny. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a little bit of credit. There's a couple funny jokes in it, but I mean, I feel like that's pretty standard with like Will Ferrell comedies. There's like a couple funny things in it, but then the rest of it is like,
and then the rest is him just like flailing around trying too hard.
yeah. But I guess the nice thing about this is that he isn't in it. It's just his voice.
Yeah, I suppose.
So it isn't just like Will Ferrell doing a funny voice or yelling really loud. It's like
Those are his only 2 options.
those are really his only 2 options, which I mean, he is kind of doing a funny voice, kind of. It's just like his voice, but like exaggerated. It's like if Buddy the Elf was taken like a couple notches higher, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Foxx is in it. Such a shame. I feel like Jamie Foxx, he's one of those guys that like has so much potential, but like every once in a while, he just like puts his name on something like this.
Yeah.
Like, why? You were in Django Unchained. Why are you in Strays? But I guess theoretically, you could say the same thing about Kevin Spacey before
Before
all that thing.
and the other incident and
Yeah, all those things. But like
All
before
those
that, like he was in like American Beauty and
Call of
Seven.
Duty.
Well, that's one of the things that's like, why is Kevin Spacey in Call of Duty? He was also right before all those like, those things. He was in like 9 Lives, that one where he played a talking cat.
Oh yeah.
Why? What is it with all these people doing talking animal movies?
Because it's funny.
That's
Haha,
true.
the funny animal talks. Haha.
Exactly.
Although I think in that movie they didn't even have the animal talk; they just had him think, and so
like
like
the inner monologue.
yeah, like Homeward Bound.
Yeah. It's crazy how many movies we can reference in this segment.
This is hyper specific. But yeah, it's they did not animate the mouth moving, and they just had Kevin Spacey come in for like a couple days where he played like the live action version before he turned into the Shaggy dog, or Shaggy cat, I should say. Did you know that there's a movie starring Gary Busey where he turns into a dog, and it's a Christian movie?
Oh god.
It's called Quigley.
Perfect.
Which I've actually thought about getting for one of our bad movie nights because I think
I'd love to watch Quigley.
the thing that movie is so weird because it stars Gary Busey first of all, which yeah, but also the co-star of it, who the guy who plays an angel that is that is guiding Gary Busey through a life of redemption, is played by Oz Perkins, who makes like really heady gothic horror movies now. Like he made like The Black Coat's Daughter, which is like regarded as maybe one of the best horror movies of the last decade, and he's in Quigley, which is odd. But yeah, I don't know. What is it about talking animal movies? Did it start with Shaggy Dog or did it start with Beverly Hills Chihuahua? I really have no idea.
I think Marmaduke was really when it hit its peak.
Oh yeah.
Marmaduke. Or maybe the Scooby-Doo movies.
Oh, well, the Scooby-Doo movies are actually pretty good. So
Well, that's true. They're like a step above
Yeah.
your average talking dog movie. I can't think of any other talking animal movies. I know there has to be more.
what's the Stripes? Is that the zebra racing movie? Does the zebra talk in that movie?
I don't know. I think that's called Racing Stripes.
Racing Stripes.
I don't know if the zebra talks. I think it's just a movie about a zebra that races. Does the horse talk in Secretariat?
I don't know. I've never seen
Probably.
Secretary.
So I think the moral of the story is that you should support local theaters and watch Strays.
Yes. Greg Marcus needs your money.
I think honestly the best part of that whole movie going experience was seeing Greg Marcus. Which
That's good.
not that that's usually the worst part, but that shouldn't be the best part
Yeah.
of the entire night is seeing
Before the movie starts.
Greg Marcus doing a bit in front of a rear screen projection where he's on a road trip, which I wish was real. The whole bit is that he's traveling the country and doing a tour, and I'm like, please make that real. If not the whole country, at least the places that have your theaters. Because I would love to meet you, Greg Marcus. You have a standing invitation on the Boy Time podcast anytime you'd want.
Absolutely.
We would love to have you. I
I'd
would
give
love
a 3-hour Greg Marcus interview.
that would be awesome. I know, talking movies with Greg Marcus,
It'd be awesome.
talking
I'm interested to
business
see
with
what
Greg
his
Marcus.
top 5 is.
Oh, that's a good question. I will say, for a while there, those Greg Marcus segments used to be just like, I'm promoting the new Marcus Theaters app. But now they've gotten back to just like quirky skits with Greg Marcus. And I'm like,
He's
I'm
at the top
back.
of his game.
He is. I'm very happy that Greg Marcus is back. I don't know when the next time I'm going to enter a theater is. Maybe for that new Scorsese movie. More realistically, for that new David Fincher movie.
Dune 2 that got delayed.
March. I will be seeing Dune 2 in theaters. I love the first Dune. And I love the David Lynch Dune. Haven't seen it, but
But I'm assuming I'll like
I'm
it.
assuming I'll like
I've
it.
heard nothing but good things.
Yeah. I've heard mixed things. Some people actually like it. Those people must not have eyes, but
Yeah.
because I think the David Lynch Dune is about half as long as the first part of Dune, and it has the same story as both parts will have, which is crazy. And I think there's a scene where they milk a cat, which I don't remember in the first Dune.
That sounds difficult.
Yeah, it's a hairless
bit.
cat too. I don't know if
Oh,
that
that's
makes
even
it
harder.
easier or harder.
Well, harder because you don't
I
even
don't
want
know.
to touch that thing.
Oh, that's true. It's like all wrinkly.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think there's a scene where like they tape a mouse to a cat. There's only a few things I know about the David Lynch Dune. Kyle MacLachlan is in it. The guy from Eraserhead is in it, who also plays. Who's the fishing guy in Twin Peaks that we like so much? Pete. Yeah. It took me a very long time to realize that guy is the same guy as the Eraserhead guy, but he's in it, and the guy who plays Big Ed is in it, and I think that was before Twin Peaks, if I remember right. So
Interesting.
yeah, a little bit of a connection there. I don't remember this is before or after Blue Velvet. Ooh, this reminds me of a funny scene in The Squid and the Whale where Jesse Eisenberg is like, "Hey, Dad, you're super depressed and lonely. Do you want to come to the movies with me and my girlfriend?" And Jeff Daniels is like, "Okay, I guess. What are you guys going to see?" And Jesse Eisenberg is like, "I think we're going to go see Short Circuit," which is a fitting movie to take your girlfriend to in 2005. And Jeff Daniels is like, okay, I've heard interesting things about Blue Velvet, which is not an appropriate movie to take your girlfriend to in 2005.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, do you want to see a David Lynch movie with me? I know we've only been dating a couple weeks.
I mean, that worked with me, so
Well,
I'm the exception,
true.
not the rule, though.
True.
Actually, we tried to watch it, and then my PlayStation's DVD player broke, and then we had to buy Paramount Plus or whatever it's on.
Is it Showtime?
Yeah, I think it is. It is Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Yeah. It's yeah.
And then we got to the James weird arc, and then we stopped watching it.
That's fair. I was trying to say like, I was like, hey, we should watch it. I was talking to my girlfriend, like, hey, you like, I like David Lynch so much, the person, not so much his work, but I love him, and he's in Twin Peaks, so that's a plus. And then I'm like, but then we're gonna have to skip certain parts. There's gonna be certain parts in season 2 that aren't gonna be as good. And then I don't
make her watch the 3rd season.
I don't know if she.
That's
would
what we're
like
gonna do
that.
this time.
I don't know. I rewatched the episode where Dougie comes back and he goes to the casino, because I'm like, man, I remember that scene going on for like 10 minutes. But it wasn't that long. I wished it was like the whole episode.
At the pace of that season, like it seems pretty like slow.
Yeah. But I think when you jump in, that's like episode 3 or 4.
Yeah, nothing really happens.
No.
But at the same time, so much happens in one episode.
Yeah, it was one of those. I watched Red Letter Media's review of the 3rd season of Twin Peaks, and it's the 2 guys on there that are huge David Lynch fans, and they were talking about why it was so great. And they had a kind of unique experience because they were watching it when it came out, and they were watching it in a group of people that all really like David Lynch movies. So like they were all kind of like geeking out at it at the same time. Side note, I don't know if I would, I could imagine a room that I would less like to be in than a room of David Lynch nerds. Cause I'm too cool, I like Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
That's my favorite movie. The 2016 one, that is. I like that one quite a bit, actually.
Girl power.
Yeah, I would describe myself as a feminist. I don't really like movies unless it can pass the Bechdel test.
Which that movie does.
Oh, it does. It does in spades. And The Squid and the Whale does not.
Darn.
I know. It's very sad. But, yeah. But that's all I have. I think next week I might watch the Killing Joke movie because I read the book. So I want to compare and contrast the book and the movie. I've heard that the movie is not as good, but also the cast
That's
is...
what everybody says.
I know. But the cast is great. I mean, it's got Kevin Conroy, Batman, Mark Hamill, Joker. It's got Ray Weiss in it, who's the dad in Twin Peaks. Whenever he shows up in something, you're like, oh, this is going to be it. It's going to be an interesting performance. And he plays James Gordon, which I think is an interesting choice. It also has Paul Dini in it, who I don't know anything about that guy, but his name is Paul Dini, and I'm going to give them points for that one.
True.
If only Frank Ziti was in it.
God, I love Frank Ziti.
I can't remember this guy's name. Tom, is it? It's Savini.
It was not at all similar to what Frank Ziti is.
I think it's Tom Savini, but everyone knows him
right.
as Frank Ziti. It's okay. It's the one running joke we have on the Boy Time podcast is that
Exactly.
this one obscure prosthetics artist from the 70s and 80s is known as Frank Ziti.
Frank Ziti.
Standing invitation for the podcast, Frank Ziti. If you don't
Yes.
mind being called Frank Ziti,
If that is your real name.
for the duration of the podcast. But I
No, we
think
will not refer to your real name at all.
I frankly I don't know his real name. Off the top of my head, I know him as Frank Ziti.
And I don't care to learn it.
I don't. It's fine. I don't think it's going to really affect my life going forward if I don't know this random guy's name.
Oh, it will. Just wait.
I'm gonna 30 years down the line, I'm gonna be in a movie trivia competition, and they're gonna be like, "Who did the special effects work on George Romero's Dawn of the Dead?" And it's just gonna be Frank Ziti. But I think without further ado, I'll pass it on to my own Frank Ziti, Babby,
Yes,
because you're Italian.
I am Italian.
Me too.
Let's go.
I'm not Italian.
You're British and Irish, I think, aren't you?
British and Norwegian.
Oh, you don't even have the Irish in there.
Well, to
I
be
have a
fair,
little
I'm
bit
British
of
too in a
Irish.
ways.
Aren't we
But
all
I'm British in a way that if you go back far enough, I
In
have
a
the same
special,
relative with
funny
Obama.
way.
So I mean, it's
awesome.
it's a pass.
What are you, Kenyan?
Yeah. No. Although according to ancestry sites, I'm 0.5% Congolese. So
Oh,
That's awesome.
okay.
I'm not kidding, and just for my grandma too.
That's awesome.
I'm surprised she doesn't get 1%. It's the
I
same
don't know how
percent.
it's.
It's just flatlined at the lowest
Yeah.
possible amount.
Well, I didn't get any African. It was just you're the most Northern European guy I could ever see,
Which is true.
which is true.
I got the Germain.
Jermaine.
Germanic.
Germain.
Cringe. What was I talking about? Oh, okay. I have gaming this week, so I'm starting with
What?
gaming.
Did you play Starfield?
No, not
Oh.
yet, because it's not out on Game Pass. That comes out on the 6th, I think. I looked
Oh,
it
is
up.
that right?
Yeah.
No.
But it is free day one Game Pass,
That's
which
true.
is awesome.
I
So
will play it
be-
eventually.
I will be playing it. But I think people have been enjoying it, actually. So,
You know what? I have not heard much of anything about it, honestly.
yeah, I've watched 10 minutes of gameplay, and that's it. Definitely looks like a Bethesda game, and
yep.
that's okay with me. As long as it works. I'm a Bethesda fan, but Fallout 76 turned me off from them so hard.
That's true.
But gaming, I got into the CS2 beta.
What?
I think half the player base is in now. They opened it up a little bit.
Oh.
So check
A
your
little
game.
bit.
I think they based it off of if you have an active competitive matchmaking rank when the update came out, which I did, and I let me in. I think BabJab got in too. So I think a lot of people are kind of trickling in now. But yeah, big update. They let a whole bunch of people in. They got the new Inferno in there. That looks crazy good. Seriously a huge overhaul. It looks gorgeous. It's a good remake when you're playing the map and you're like, this feels like a brand new map, but I also kind of know where I am at the same time.
Yeah.
Everything was redone. It looks gorgeous. They also launched the new Premier matchmaking kind of trial for everybody. So essentially, they're trying to make a matchmaking system that's better than the third-party services, because usually if you want a good game of matchmaking on Counter-Strike now, you have to go through Faceit, which is a third-party client. So they're trying to eliminate that. So now there's Premier, which you can kind of queue into, and then it goes through a map ban and veto kind of thingies. So each team gets to ban 3 maps, and then it narrows down until there's one left, and then that's the map you play, which is cool. That's something Faceit did that was really cool, because then it forces people out of their comfort zone if they want to. There's always standard competitive where you can queue whatever maps you want to, which is good. I like that they're giving the choice. I think CS has a big enough player base where you can do that confidently without having dead servers, because people aren't playing certain maps. what CS:GO has now, because the matchmaking system in that game is so outdated and bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can do that, and then ranking systems for that Premier mode, and I think regular matchmaking too. Is your rank is based off of each particular map, so you could be like a global on Nuke and like a silver 4 on Mirage. So it gives like the 100%ers like a more incentive to like flesh out their map pool and try different things, without like, if you were to do that in CS right now, and like let's say I played Nuke and got to like Legendary Eagle Master, which is what I did, and then I got thrown in an overpass game, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed. But with this, you can have a lower rating for certain maps. You can learn the map and get accustomed to it instead of getting dropped in with like people that are really really good at that particular map. So love that change. Another big one is they have adopted the MR12 system, which essentially means it's first to 13 instead of first to 16. Valorant did this on their launch, and actually 1.6 back in the day used to be this. So people are saying they're copying Valorant. They're not. But at the same time, please copy Valorant, because they did a lot of good quality of life things that should be a thing. This is what having another game in this segment that's competitive with it does. You can actually get some good changes made, and it's not just like, oh, there's no other like alternative for this. But yeah, very good change so far. A couple of matches I played, it's been pretty smooth. I definitely know CS games can run pretty long, because first to 16 rounds there could be up to 30 rounds.
Yeah.
In standard play that gets long. Usually matches were like 40 to 45 minutes. This cuts it down to about like 30 to 35, I would say.
Okay.
Makes it a little bit more competitive, makes the rounds a little bit more exciting. So there aren't rounds where you have pistols and then just kind of throw the round away because you don't have anything to work with. I think they've adjusted the economy so it works a little bit better with that too. But yeah, love that as well. There's definitely like, this is a thing where like when you open the beta to a whole bunch of people, and then everybody's like, this game sucks, not realizing it's a beta. But there's been a lot of good bug fixes already happening. I'm glad people are actually doing like, well, most people are doing the thing where they're actually participating in the beta and leaving feedback and stuff, and not just being like, this game sucks. There are definitely people that I think don't like change and just want the game to be exactly CS:GO without realizing this is a completely new game and a new engine. So things are going to feel a little bit different. And they do. It took me a while to adjust, because they have the new buy menu that's like a grid style like Valorant instead of the wheel. So I was misclick buying things all the time because I had muscle memory like for years baked into like, here's how I buy all my nades and my rifle in 2 seconds. You can't do that anymore. But the good thing is you can refund your weapons now finally, so you don't have to stick with something you misbought. It's really cool. Every single item in the game has an inspect now, so you can inspect your grenades and your Zeus if you want to.
Awesome.
Which is awesome. Yeah, the smokes look awesome when you're actually playing. They fill out to the geometry around it, so it's not just like the same like exact JPEG of a smoke every time you place one. It's dynamic, and they are colored for the team. So one has a slightly blue tint, one has a slightly orange tint, which is cool. There's just a lot of like cool stuff that you notice as you play, and you're like, ooh, this is new and updated and fresh. The tapping feels really good. Spraying is going to take a lot to get used to. I think everybody's been kind of experiencing like when they're spraying their gun and doing their recoil control like they usually do in CS:GO, their bullets are just like going everywhere for some reason. I think that's a lot of things because the spray patterns are the exact same, but now there's tracer rounds, so you can see where your bullets go. So that kind of affects it a little bit.
Yeah.
Your view model is locked as of now. Hopefully they change that, because I play left-handed view model in CS, so that I don't like it being on the right side of the screen because I feel like I miss things a lot when it's over there. So hopefully they bring back custom view models and left-handed stuff. So there's a lot of little things that I think will be coming shortly. They just haven't gotten to like those little quality of life things yet. But they're actually doing a great job of taking feedback and applying it fast. There was an issue where like people were dying behind walls a little bit because the server rate or whatever with their view model was like not synced up. So they just launched a fix for that today. So they're doing a lot of great stuff, like actually doing what a beta is supposed to be and making updates on the fly, and not like the AAA betas that we've gotten in the past like 5 or 6 years, which is essentially just to play like a way to play the finished game a couple weeks early.
Yeah.
They might make some updates to like netcode or server strength, but that's pretty much all they do. But with this one, it's actively being updated like constantly a lot. But I'm really enjoying it so far. It's really cool. The graphics are like absolutely beautiful, which is weird because it's a Counter-Strike game. But like, just being in the water, like you can see your legs first off, which is weird because now when you like go down a ladder, you can see your own legs and it's weird. But but you can like there's water on like overpass that you can walk through, and you can kind of squint down and walk through it, and the water bends around your feet, and you can see like little oil puddles on top of the water. I think Ancient has like mossy water, and you can like walk through the moss, and it'll like regenerate naturally as the time goes on.
That's cool.
I think Source 2 is just like an amazing engine. Like we've kind of seen it in Half-Life Alyx, but they're kind of just transferring that to here.
Yeah, Alex looks fantastic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely still some issues there, some shader things around surrounding skins and stickers and stuff that are a little glitched, but of course that will definitely get fixed considering how big the skin market is. But overall, it's pretty great. There's definitely some bugs to be worked out. It took a little bit to get used to it. It felt a little bit more slow. I feel like you can feel your character's movement in this game a little bit differently. Because in CSGO, I feel like I'm gliding. Because you don't really have that bob of the head on the view model or anything. So you kind of just like glide around corners. This game's it's a little different. Feels a little bit like Valorant. Valorant, you feel very kind of heavy when you're moving around. This one doesn't feel as bad as that, but it's definitely like you feel a lot more grounded as a character and not just like some floating head as you're like moving around the map. But yeah, it's really fun. I'm glad they overhauled a lot of things because like even just playing casual and cycling through the maps that I've played millions of times, it feels like I'm playing all of them for the first time because the lighting and stuff is so drastically different. The Inferno and Overpass and Italy remakes are all really, really, really good. I think Cobblestone's still coming. I think that's the last main map that they're planning to do before launch. And Cobblestone's been out of rotation for years, I think. So
Yeah.
hopefully that has a pretty big overhaul. Because I'm a fan of Cobblestone. I feel like I never really played it in competitive, but it's a fun casual map to play for sure.
Yeah.
And I think Wingman and stuff will be there as well. But yeah, it's really, really, really fun. Definitely looking forward to it. I don't know, based off of like how the game feels and the polish on it, it could be coming late this month because they did say summer 2023. So it could be, a late September situation before it's technically not, summer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't think they need to rush it. If they just do this beta thing and kind of like open it up slightly every time and keep making changes, I think we'll be fine. But I think the game's in a really solid place. They're just like, now that you're letting people in with a whole bunch of different systems and configurations, you're going to run into a lot of different bugs with people's systems. And it's a good chance to kind of get ahead of that before launch.
Yeah.
Because we are QA testing, technically. That's what a beta is, people. You don't just get to play the game and be like, la, 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 oh, this game sucks, I'm not buying it. It's kind of a, participation and send issues to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But plays really great. I'm very excited for its full release. I think this is going to kind of revitalize the CS community that I kind of miss how it was in 2015 and 2016, where just like everybody was playing CS. It was just like a great time with an actually good FPS out. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it turns out good, but it's good signs so far.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Oh, cool.
But
Like that.
yeah, that's my gaming news.
Gamer.
We might both talk about Starfield next week. I don't know if I have time to.
I don't know if I'm gonna
jump
play
into
it
it.
right away.
Maybe I don't know. We'll see.
I'm like behind. I played the first Red Dead Redemption, and I'm like, I want to play the second one again. And I've been playing Red Dead 2 for like 3 weeks now, and I'm not even past chapter 2 yet.
Yes.
I'm hunting. I'm doing everything except the main missions because I'm like I'm having so much more fun going out and
Just like doing
hunting
that.
and trying to find all the legendary animals and stuff. I only do the main missions when I need money. So
Respect.
yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to do that, and then I need to play Baldur's Gate 3 because I bought it,
Oh, yeah.
and then I played Red Dead 2, and I got sucked into that. So I need to go back.
I play a game you just bought when you even play a game you bought years ago.
4 years ago.
Again. Yeah.
Which the word around the watering hole is that Red Dead 3 is in development right now, which means it will be coming out in 2027.
So
Maybe.
Maybe later. I don't even know where you go from here, honestly. Like,
Yeah. Maybe you should just, I don't know, make a new IP. That might be too.
GTA 7 in
Might be too
13
risky.
years.
well, it took Bethesda this long to make a new IP.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems to be working out so far. So
Well, people
we'll
like
see.
it. People like it. I can't wait to build the planet delivery rocket ship from Futurama. That's what I want.
The first thing I'm gonna do.
That's the first thing I want to build. Of all of the space related things that I'm into, I'm definitely most into Futurama. I think that's what most people know me as on this channel, is the big Futurama guy.
Yeah, you're constantly making
Of course.
I know. I love Bender. He's a fun little robot, you know?
A funny, relatable, fun guy.
Yeah, he's like, what if Jake the dog was just a little more raunchy, you know?
Flippers and blow, dude.
That's awesome. He's like, hey, whose leg do I have to hump to get a martini around here? You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Or maybe
Payday 3 is a beta soon, too.
Payday 3 is going to be on Game Pass.
Good. Game
Yeah.
Pass is actually doing really well.
Yeah, good for
It's
that.
actually making me like play games that I wouldn't normally like pay for day one. Like I could actually play Starfield without having to commit like $70 to it.
Well, that's right. You could also play Redfall.
True.
Heck yes. When are we playing Redfall with the
The
boys?
best game. Man, they're charging $70 for that on Steam. That's crazy.
For Redfall?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Still?
Best game of the year. Yeah.
I hear it's pretty well rated.
Yeah, it's mostly negative on Steam. I think it's definitely this is like a dead on impact game.
People love it.
Yeah.
I saw Back for Blood do like decently well, and you're like, what if we did that with the vampires and then just completely failed?
But we released it like 2 years too early.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, because they wanted to capitalize on it.
they did. They're like,
Even though-
this is kind of hot right now.
Was Back for Blood even that, like, it wasn't, like, revolutionary, but did it have that
No,
much
it
of an
was-
impact?
It did for like a month or two, and then people kind of fell off from it, like
It wa-
what usually happens.
Whoopsie doopsie.
Not again.
I'm not sure what happened. We had some technical issues. Our podcast stopped recording in the middle of our thing. But yeah, so we actually missed the entire music section, which was not super lengthy, but we can.
It was incredible.
It was moving, to be sure.
It was moving. I cried 3 times actually.
Yeah, it's a shame, really.
Yeah. And now I'm gonna give you like a 30-second rundown of it because I'm not going through that again.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I think I just ran out of space on my hard drive, so that won't happen again. But yeah.
I also don't write anything down for the music segment, so that was a one in a lifetime recording because I just ramble. That's my style. But
Only once every
we'll
year.
talk about Slow Dive
All
for the
right.
first time. Oh my god, they released an album.
What?
Everything is Alive is the title. It's really good. It's not Souvlaki good, but that's okay. Because that would be unrealistic expectations. And if you were thinking that, then I don't know what's wrong with you, honestly.
Did people think that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think people are pretty happy with it. Yeah. As I read a review, that was like seeing like, oh, this is a little bit different than Souvlaki, which I wasn't expecting. But whatever. Yeah, pretty great. 8 tracks, 41 minutes, the perfect length for an album. I heard 3 singles out of it. They released a 4th on Wednesday before the album came out, which you should not do because nobody's listened to that, Chief. I don't know what the point of doing that is, honestly.
No.
I feel like if you can't wait 2 days, then I don't know. That's a little ridiculous. But really great. A lot more ambient and kind of jammy in a way than their other stuff that I've heard, which I haven't heard a lot of. I have the self-titled on our wheel. Maybe we'll do that, I hope, soon. I think it's in the meh category, so
Meh.
definitely not out of the possibilities going forward. But yeah, really great. Shanty has a harpsichord, which is amazing. A lot of these songs are definitely more like rhythmic in their setup. Um, I know in Souvlaki it was a lot about the reverb and just like the feeling of water and just like open space. This one has a lot of more like electronic rhythmic moments, which is really cool. Still has that kind of meditative and like relaxing effect for a lot of these tracks. It's pretty mysterious, but not like eerie mysterious. It's more pretty. And I feel like the album cover with all this geometry and kind of mazes and stuff like perfectly exemplify like what this album is. It's not something that's like, you can dig into it and find all these really cool nuances and it's really great. But it's also not something where you're going to like, remember every single song. I think it's definitely an album experience. Kisses and Skin in the Game are the most memorable here. I think it makes sense to do those as singles, but the rest are very, very rhythm heavy and kind of just take you in really wild places that you probably wouldn't like. I didn't expect Slow Dive to do stuff like that. Based off of Souvlaki, I definitely knew them off of like more song structure. Every song had a chorus, that kind of thing. This one is like kind of free, but it's really great. Definitely in my top 10 for the year. I think Chain to a Cloud is definitely the best song here. Arpeggios just going throughout the whole song is insane. So, really great. Definitely want to do their self-titled soon because I know everybody kind of loved that record when they came back. And then they also have Just for a Day from 1991. That was their debut album that also has really good reviews. So, might check that one out eventually too. But I feel like Slow Dive is the very kind of, updated version of like. I feel like Slow Dive would be a lot more popular today than My Bloody Valentine. I feel like they're the two sides of shoegaze. So, and My Bloody
Yeah.
Valentine said they were going to release albums, and they never have yet. So hopefully they do that soon. But I like the yin and the yang of it. I like both of them quite a lot. But this one is definitely more pretty and easier to kind of have on in the background. But yeah, really great. Check it out. I feel like this would have been a hard one to do a reaction of, so I'm kind of glad we leaned out of that for this one. Just because things are more kind of ambient and instrumental. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know how much we would have had to say about it. Like, it's really great, but there's not a lot of. Our format of reviewing is like talking about it instead of making funny faces when something happens.
Right.
So that wouldn't have worked too well for this thing.
How do you even do
would have had
funny
to do-
faces to an ambient record?
I would have had to do a lot of like space overlays that I've done in other videos to make it somewhat interesting to watch. So, yeah, but we will do Sufjan. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That song.
Yes, it's so
that
good.
single is fantastic.
So good.
Yes, I've been jamming some Illinois in preparation. Maybe I should be jamming some Carrie and Lowell, but I'm not that sad.
I'm honestly like ready to dive into Carrie and Lowell again because it's so good. It's like one of those
It's
things
so
where it's
good.
like so good, but I hate listening to it, but I also love listening to it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. I'm still listening to Neutral Milk Hotel and Elliott Smith. Those are
True.
kind of my two go-tos right now. Still throwing on that Angelo DeAgostine one though.
I still need to
So-
listen to that.
It's so
That
good.
stuff hasn't been my vibe lately, but with the fall season coming around, I might have to.
It's a fall record for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. But
Yeah. But I'll have the Arm & Hammer record to talk about at the end of the month. That'll probably be a pretty lengthy segment because I usually have a lot to say about those because they give me a lot to say. Other than that, whenever Drake drops, I'm going to be on top of that thing. Number one Drake fan on this podcast, and there's no evidence to say otherwise.
there isn't, because in the first take
Because
of
it got
this segment,
deleted.
you were like, I'm probably not going to listen to this. And now
Yeah.
that we're re-recording it, you say that you're the biggest Drake fan?
Yes.
Crazy.
Because this one's for all the dogs, and I
Oh, well,
consider
that's true.
myself a dog, I guess.
Pitbull or
Wolf. Probably not. I don't. Toddlers aren't my favorite
Beverly Hill Chihuahua.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm
Callback.
Marmaduke. I love Marmaduke with Owen Wilson and who played the dog?
Wait, is Owen Wilson in
Was
Marmaduke?
Owen Wilson? Yeah, I think so.
I thought Owen Wilson was in.
He was in Marley and Me, but I think he was
Yeah.
also in Marmaduke.
Oh, you're right. Owen Wilson and Emma Stone are in it.
Yeah. Who
And-
plays Marmaduke?
Marmaduke. Why is this not one of the top listed people? Is Marmaduke's name Giuseppe?
I don't think so.
Okay, then he's not top billed.
He's Italian.
Why? Does Marmaduke not talk?
Marmaduke might not talk.
Oh, it's just.
Does he actually?
It
don't think
doesn't
he
say.
does.
He doesn't say.
I'm like trying to remember the movie, but now that I think about it more, I don't think he talks.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I don't think he does.
This cast is crazy. Owen Wilson, Emma Stone as George Lopez, Fergie, Sam Elliott, Judy Greer, William H. Macy, and Marlon Wayans in it.
That's awesome.
What is this movie?
It's pretty great. I think he
Movie.
like
Is
saves a
it?
kid from like the freaking falling down the Los Angeles like that thingy where like the water is supposed to be, but it's not there.
Chinatown.
No,
It's no, that's the thing in Chinatown is that they're talking about it's a water shortage in LA.
oh, yeah, it's the big old like I don't know what to call it.
Aqueduct.
Yeah, that thing.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Aqueduct.
I just
Are you sure it's
Dan-
really good? Because that's a 9% on Rotten
no, it
Tomatoes.
sucks. But like
Okay.
as a child, I'm like, ooh, I like big dogs.
Is it?
Marmaduke's
Dog.
funny. I like Owen Wilson
Why were you an Owen Wilson fan as a child?
because he was in Cars and
Oh, that's
various
point.
other things. He was in a lot of stuff actually.
I always.
Grown Ups 2 even.
He was in those movies.
Yeah,
Oh, that's too bad.
yeah, a little bit.
Well, did you know that there's a new Marmaduke movie?
There
Whoa.
is.
Yeah, it came out last year. Do you know who
Oh.
plays Marmaduke?
Boy
Owen
movie,
Wilson.
night movie.
Pete Davidson.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, when I think of Marmaduke, Pete Davidson is the first person I attach to it. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, you should. I think it's on
Yeah.
Netflix.
Great.
I think it's one of those that was like a foreign movie, and then they just got a bunch of American actors to dub it over.
Perfect.
I think.
That's the best kind of movie.
Yeah. Well, because it's directed by a guy named Mark A.Z. DePay.
Mm.
So,
Marmaduke did great with the Southeast Asian audience.
yeah.
All I know is Danny Brown said, "I'm a big dog like Marmaduke," and that's never left my head since he said that. So he's given Marmaduke more play in my mind than the actual movie did. So
I guess. Why are you thinking about the 2010 Marmaduke movie?
I don't know.
Because
It's
it's
just a thing
perfect.
that happens sometimes.
Oh. Well, I suppose.
That's all I have. I don't have another segment because I'm busy and I don't have time to write things.
Me neither.
Yeah. But one day I'll have something. And it'll be
Okay.
awesome and cool.
It'll be tomorrow.
Maybe.
Surprise episode tomorrow, boys.
Bonus episode.
Bonus episode.
Jerry will be editing. I'm like, wait a minute, I have this to add on.
Okay.
Which is me
send it
talking to
over.
myself in the room.
About
Which is-
imperialism.
Yeah, which is, you know, what we do normally, except I'm not talking to other people that are also alone in their rooms,
Oh, when you put it like that.
which is part of the fun.
Yeah. Well, sorry if we cut off something important. And if by we, I mean my hard drive. While you were doing your slow dive review, I looked through and I had all podcast video files since podcast 130 something.
Ah, yes.
And when I selected them all, it was around 700 gigs of storage that was used in old video files that I did not.
Yeah, I'm also
Need.
guilty of that, keeping every single music review
I have all those too.
Yeah, I had to start going through and delete
Just
some of those.
let it go. Am I
It
right?
takes up so much space.
Yeah, yeah. But it is nice. I can be like, hey, what video did I edit? And then I have all the folders on a
Yeah,
subfolder. I
exactly.
can see which ones that I edited. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna be going on next week. I don't think I have anything. Like, I'm not gonna be seeing a movie in theaters or anything. I don't know what the gimmick's gonna be, if there is going to be one. I don't think I'm going to do the gimmick that I was going to do before, because it requires a movie that I cannot have access to. It's not on anything, not even to rent anywhere. So I'm going to have to find that one somewhere.
Pandemic 2.
Search.
I
far
have
and
that one
wide.
on DVD.
And we're never gonna watch it, are we?
No. It's not
We'll
worth
get
it.
around to it.
It's
eventually.
not worth it. As someone who has seen it,
Exactly.
it's not good. It's not funny bad. It's
Bad.
it's just bad. Yeah.
The perfect movie.
And you know, I just got a couple bad movies. I just got I guess I'll plug Vinegar Syndrome again. I don't do it a ton on this podcast, but Vinegar Syndrome released a documentary called Once Upon a Time in Uganda
Ooh,
about the Wakaliwood people.
I'm
Let's go.
interested.
Yeah. So I bought that on DVD, or I guess Blu-ray. And then they also had releases of Who Killed Captain Alex and Bad Black on a double feature.
Ooh, double feature.
Let's go.
So I got that. I was going to get it straight from the Wakaliwood people, but they're out of stock. So sorry.
Dang.
Maybe get
We tried.
more DVD printers in Wakaliga, Uganda. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens for next week. I don't know how much time off I'm going to have. But yeah, since last week, since last time we recorded, I have not had a day off. I know I have a day off on Thursday when this podcast is going to come out, but or the day after. Honestly, they've been coming out on Fridays more often because I keep forgetting.
Friday.
But
Keeping you guessing and on your toes.
yeah,
Toesies.
how many tootsies?
Whoa.
Oh, we already talked about that last week. Tarantino
Yeah.
and his foot fetish.
It's true.
I missed
Lengthy
it.
discussion
Dang.
about it.
Yeah, you did.
It went on for a while. That podcast was like an hour, and we spent most of the time on that. So
Yeah, that sounds like him.
Yeah, well, it's important. Bye.